Bessie woke up in a cold sweat. It was the third night in a row that she had the nightmare. The nightmare was the worst of any kind. All she could see was Joe, dead in cold blood. She looked at her ring finger and smiled at the curtain ring that was around it. The day before Joe went to battle, Joe had vowed, upon his return, he would make an honest woman of her. That night, they became close for the very first time. That was something she wouldn't be forgetting in a hurry. She had wanted to be the perfect virgin bride with a crisp white dress. Now war had broken out. They felt strongly that what they did that night was the only way to confirm their commitment to each other. After all, they had been sweethearts since they were 16. She remembered the day she had met Joe like it was yesterday. It was at her cousin Dot's wedding. Joe was the younger brother of Robert Dot's husband. Joe was sat on the same table as Bessie, her sister Grace, and Grace's husband of 6 months, Percy. Grace was 5 months pregnant and was already complaining at how fat she was getting. Grace had always been tall and slender now. She had blossomed like a big balloon. And those were the exact words Percy had used that day to describe his wife. The words resulted in Grace running off in floods of tears, followed by Percy, who had realized he should think before he speaks. Joe smiled at Bessie shyly. Now that Grace and Percy had left the table, he would have to speak to the girl he thought was the most beautiful girl he had seen. Joe could feel the collar on his shirt getting tight as he worked himself up to speak. "It's been a lovely day. September's a good month to get married, don't you think?" Joe could have kicked himself as he heard the words come out of his mouth. Bessie smiled politely and nodded in response. If a man could be beautiful, then Joe was just that. "I thought my cousin looked beautiful, and your brother looked handsome too." Bessie was shocked that she managed to speak to him without stammering like she usually did when she was in the company of a handsome man. Bessie went to the ladies to freshen up. Upon her return, Joe was out of his seat and was talking to her parents. Bessie sat back down in her seat. Joe waved at Bessie from across the room and gave her a warming smile. Joe practically ran back over to the table. He pulled out the chair next to Bessie and sat down. "I've just been talking to your father. He has given me permission to take you to the pictures tomorrow, if would like to accompany me, of course." Joe gave her a hopeful smile. "I would like that very much," replied Bessie. Bessie spent hours getting ready to go out with Joe. As promised, he picked her up at 6 o'clock. Bessie hadn't even thought about what film they were going to see. As long as she was with Joe and it wasn't a cowboy film, then she was happy to see anything. Bessie was thrilled that Top Hat was being shown that night. It was safe to say Bessie had a slight obsession with Ginger Rogers. From that moment on, Bessie and Joe were inseparable. Bessie